Hi, my name's Nick from Tannus.co.uk, and today I'm going to show you how to fit a Tannus Armour tyre insert. Now, the first thing we're going to need to do is choose the right insert, and on a tyre it will say, imprinted on the side, what the actual tyre size is. In this case it is 20 by 2.15. Now, from checking on the Tannus.co.uk website, I've ascertained that the best fit for this is this tyre here, insert here, which is a 20 by 1.95 to 2.5. Once you've decided which size of armour to use, you then will need to consult the side of the box to determine whether you need to make any adjustments, i.e. trim anything off the armour insert. In this particular case, we can see that the tyre sizes you can use are 20 by 1.95 to 2.1 and 20 by 2.1 to 2.5. If your tyre fits in this range here, the 20 by 1.95 to 2.1, then you'll notice here in the cut box there's a tick, and so that's telling you that we'll need to cut part of the Tannus Armour off so that it'll fit into the tyre. Regarding cutting the armour insert, we'll see on each tyre there's a line, a very faint line there. Can you see that? If for your size of Tannus Armour it says you need to cut the tyre, then what we do is get a pair of scissors, any household scissors, and then carefully cut off this strip here, cutting carefully along the line, and this will need doing on both sides. So in this case here we've actually cut the strip off, so you can see there's no line shown anymore. So taking the tube out and taking the tyre off, it's just hanging on one side of the rim here now. Now the next part of this process is to fit the insert into the tyre. Here I've got one in the box, and at first it looks quite alarming. You're thinking, I've got a product here that is never going to go in there. They've sent me a faulty product, but I can assure you that it will go in. It's just looks a bit distorted, but it's fine. Everything will turn out right. So I start taking the tyre and the insert and the wheel and squeeze the insert into the tyre. And once it's actually in the tyre carcass or casing, we just then need to push the lip of the tyre of the insert over the rim on the back side with the thumb. And now we've got one side fully on, and you can perhaps understand now why I said don't worry about the insert not going on the tyre where it's distorted. It's fitting in nicely now. Now we're coming to fitting the tube and selecting the tube size. On the side of the box and on the tannus.co.uk website, there's a guide on what size tube you're going to need to put in your armour. Now, you might be lucky in this case that the tube that you're taking out fits within the size range specified, which is great. If not, then you'll have to buy a tube which does fit inside that size range. Anyway, I've got a tube here, and regarding fitting these, this is against all common knowledge and experience against fitting a normal tyre, is I put them in flat, i.e. I don't put any air in, because trying to get the tyre on with the extra volume and the armour involved it makes it too difficult. But I'll come to the how we mitigate any problems with that later. So we've got the tube which has no air in it. The valve obviously goes through the valve hole in the rim as per a normal tyre. And then we just need to work the tyre in the tube into the cavity under the arm. In some cases, when you're trying to get the tube in, the tube will appear that it's too large for the wheel, despite using the recommended tube size. This is quite normal because the foam insert actually makes a smaller wheel, but when it gets inflated, everything will be alright. So what you need to do is put the tube in, and if it's slightly too large, you just spread it out a bit around the rim, and as I said, when it gets pumped up, it'll be fine. So once we've got the tube inside the armour, the next part is to tuck the armour insert into the rim. Trying to ensure that we don't nip the tube. It doesn't matter if it pops out later, but it's just a starting point, this. So now I'm going to put the tyre onto the rim. It's very important that we start putting the tyre on opposite the valve hole, for reasons which I'll come to later. So just using your thumbs, just ease the tyre around the rim. You'll feel it tightening up quite a lot. But just ease it round using your thumbs. Pushing the bead of the tyre into the rim. So you'll be finishing at the valve. You'll get to a point now where you think, I'm never going to be able to get that on, it is far too tight. And now that's because of the volume of the armour tyre. So to get some more slack at the valve end, what we need to do is opposite the valve and as much around the wheel as we can, is squeeze the tyre down so that it goes into the, on both sides this is, so that it goes into the dip in the rim. So what that's doing then is effectively making it slacker because the bead's going near the middle of the rim. So push it down because you need that slack. So now we might have to keep pushing it down because it just popped back out again. Squeeze as tight again, and then roll the tyre onto the rim. So we've got one last bit to do. Can you see down here? The reflective strip has gone, is not concentric because it's gone into the rim, so that the tyre is giving us more slack. And then on the last bit, as you would the normal tyre, just roll it on. And now it's gone on. Make sure you push the valve up so we don't want any trapping there. And so we've got the tyre armour on. The next step is to just check that we've got no tube trapped, especially since we put it in flat. Once we've got the tube in, the next thing is to check that we've not trapped the tube, especially since we put it in uninflated. So starting at the valve, we just check the valves nice and free, we've not trapped it there, and then pull back the tyre, looking down towards the rim tape and the bed of the rim, and just checking that we haven't got any tube trapped. That clicking sound you hear is the fact that the armour has forced the tyre onto the bead, which explains why we need to make sure in the previous step that the bead of the tyre is in the dip in the rim to make it slacker. But going round here, I can't see anything there. We've got to one side, flip it round and repeat the process. So, good news, there's no tube stuck in the rim, nipped. The last bit does look quite a difficult job, and it is. I've done this for a while now, so I've had plenty of practice. You might need to use some tyre levers to get that last bit on. As with all tyres, just be careful you don't nip the inner tube if you do, because everything will have to come off again. But sometimes you need to use tyre levers, sometimes you don't. Now we come to the final part of the installation, putting some air into the tyre. Now, because it's been put in flat, I wouldn't inflate the inner tube fully at this point. Got a few strokes of the pump till the tyre begins to take its shape, and then just look round the tyre, check that it's seated round the rim as you would with a normal tyre. Give it a spin to check it's even, and then if everything looks alright, which it does on this one, pump it up to the pressure you want, which is specified on the side of the tyre. valve ring back on. On the valve cap and dust cap. Job done.